everyone, today I'm going to be doing a video review on the Antonio Lopez 6 shadow palettes. And as you can see, they have this beautiful artwork from the late Antonio Lopez, which features, I think her name is Marissa, or Marissa? I think she's the one on here, and I don't remember her last name, and that's shame on me for that, and I'm sorry guys, but anyway, doesn't she look fierce? The 80s were such a fierce time. Anyway, I tried to create some 80s fierceness on my face today, so if you think I'm a little overdone, well, the 80s were go big or go home. So, we have 3 of them, and each one has their own kind of little story to them, I feel. For example, in my hand I have Teal, which is I'm wearing today, and I feel like Teal is really the heart of the 80s. Let me open it up and show you. By the way, there's a little ridge. That part is the bottom, and it has a magnetic closure. So, well, actually, it clicks in, but it's not magnetic, actually. It just clicks in. There's a little ridge there. So you open it up, and you have a nice mirror. You have a shadow protector. So you have a decent sized mirror right here, which is really clear, really big. It does come with a brush, but the brush is so tiny, though I do appreciate that they added a brush rather than a sponge applicator like some brands do. I hate the sponge applicator. But this tiny brush I feel like would be pretty infunctional if you're trying to do anything other than small details. But I mean, for small details it's good, it's just very tiny. As for your shadow colors, we have a lot of great range here. Now don't be scared of it. If you're more of a neutral girl and you're looking at this and you're going, oh my, it's too bright. No, don't be deterred, I promise. We have your metallics down here, like your silver, and you would think, oh, but that silver and that gold, they don't go together. Well, I'm going to explain that all. So you have your brighter colors here. You have the teal color, which is Colourful Life, and you have the blue, which is Freshwater. Now these two shades are very, very pigmented, but you can play them down like applying to a crease like I did here. You can also use them if you feel like they're too bright for you. You can always use them as just a pop of color, like I said, in the crease, on the outer contour, even just as a lid color, or even turn them into a liner. You can totally do that, line your lower lash line with just a little bit of the shades. But if you want to really go big, you can definitely do that with this, which is great. You can definitely go full force for the whole 80s look like she has here. Look, with the cut crease, like the grayish cut crease, and it's just crazy. You can do a lot of things with this. And now if you like a smoky eye, this is also good for a smoky eye, since you have your dark shade right here, Fashion Legend, which has that purplish, reddish shimmer. So you have that in there, but you also have, like I said, you have your goldenish, your dark golden shade, which is Sketchbook, and you have Night Train, which I just love. It's a darkened silver, and you can do a lot with it. I've applied it to my my outer lid right there, but I used Sex and Disco for the rest of my lid, and I found it to be phenomenal. So you can do a lighter look, a less pop of color look with these simple metallics, a smoky look, and get your pop of color with these two, or just go big with them. I think you can have a lot of fun with this. I think you should pick this up just for the regular colors, but also get it for the bright colors. This way you can experiment a little bit. And plus the 80s are back full force, so why not go for it? Now in terms of pigmentation, I found them to be very pigmented. Right here we have Sex and Disco. I'm going to include swatches that I did on my arm as well at the end. This right here is Colourful Life, and I have that on my crease. This right here is Freshwater. Then we have Night Train, which is a little bit darker. As you can see, a lot of them have micro shimmer in them, but I didn't experience much fallout. I feel like it sufficiently stuck to my lid as long as I patted it on. Then we have, let me just wipe that off. Sorry. I'm equipped with the makeup pads. So then we have Sketchbook, which, like I said, it has that gold shimmer in it, which is just gorgeous. And then we have Fashion Legend, which also has that shimmer. So this is really shimmery. So if you're not a fan of shimmers, and like I said, there's no mattes in here. Actually, I didn't say that. There's no mattes in here. We have Sex and Disco is a luster, Colourful Light is a Volux Pearl, Freshwater is a Volux Pearl, Night Train is a luster, Sketchbook is a luster, and Fashion Legend is also a luster. So these shades, like I said, are very, very bright, very glittery, but like I said, they're perfect for the time frame that they're trying to represent. Now, if that was just too poppy for you, too much dark color for you, I would say definitely pick up Creative Copper. Again, still has the beautiful packaging, beautiful, beautiful. It's a good size, it fits in your hands, it's not too small. And for Creative Copper, we have a lot more of those subtle more, I guess I would say, people are more accustomed to shades like this. Now, if you already have shades like this, because this is your go-to, you might want to pick it up just for the packaging, because if they're shades you already have, you might feel like, well, why waste money for these? By the way, this shade right here in the middle, Artistic License, is a dupe for Lancome's Kitten Heel, so if you already have that, you might, you know, be prepared for that. These shades, I would say, have lighter pigmentation, whereas the Teal palette has a lot of pigmentation. All of them are easy to blend. I didn't have any problems with the formula overall, except for the other palette I'm going to show you. But these were quite lighter, quite less pigmented, and I think I understand why. Because Antonio Lopez was an artist, you know, and he did primarily the late 70s, early 80s, etc. And if I were to say the time frame for this palette, I would say late 70s, that time period when it's still into the browns, still into the pinks, still into the light feminine colors, and I couldn't see this being so bright, because if it was bright and in your face, I don't feel like it would go with that late 70s feel. I think it would be more into the 80s, and I feel like they already covered the 80s with the Teal palette, so I feel like it would be overkill if it was too pigmented. But if that's something that's like a make or break for you, if something is not so pigmented, you might not want to pick this up. The first shade here is Easy Gesture, and that's a frost. Wait, hold on, I still have stuff on my hands. The stuff for the Teal palette really is a pigmented palette, I must say that. Okay, so we have Easy Gesture, and that's a really frosty white color, white shade. Then we have Artistic License. Like I said, this is a dupe for Kitten Heel, and it's a pink that has a yellow reflection or a golden reflection. And then we have Dear Cupcake, which is a nice pink corally color, but you do have to build that up for full pigmentation. And then on the bottom we have Creative Copper, which I feel is more of a gold. Like, I personally feel like that is more of a gold. That doesn't lean so coppery to me. When I think copper, I think of like penny, like the color of a penny, and it's definitely not the color of a penny. The next one we have is Golden Touch, so I mean another more golden color, and the last color we have is Carbonized. So there we go. So you have your nice row of neutrals, but these are very similar to what you would see in Urban Decay's The Naked palette. And then you have your pinks, which are just soft feminine colors. Like I said, it goes well with the 80s theme, so I understand where they were coming from when they designed this palette. And then last but not least, we have the Violet palette. Now this I felt was the worst performing palette, and I'm going to explain why. Oh, by the way, the finishes of the shadows in the copper one, Easy Gesture was a frost, Artistic License was a Volux Pearl, Dear Cupcake was a satin, Creative Copper was a luster, Golden Touch was a Volux Pearl, and Carbonized was a Volux Pearl. So you have a lot of common types of shades, like common formulas, whereas when you get into the Violet one, you encounter a matte and you encounter two satins, while the rest are Volux Pearl. That seems to be the theme of these. Now, the Violet one, like I said, beautiful packaging, but these shades kind of disappointed me. Like, beautiful, 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 and the pink and the purple worked perfectly, and this one I feel is the epitome of the mid-80s. I really feel like it's the epitome of the mid-80s. Like, the Blondie era, just the time when like Madonna was coming out. It was just a lot of pink, a lot of purple, a lot of frosty colors, but I feel like they did the frost, and they did the pink, and they did the purple, but they didn't dive headfirst into like an 80s nightmare. Like, they did a good job. The only problem is some of these shades gave me a problem, specifically Lithe Spirits, which didn't show up on my skin at all, neither when I caked it on or put it over primer. It just didn't perform. And Carbonized was so stiff, and by the way, Lithe Spirits is a satin, and Carbonized is a matte. Not Carbonized. Carbon is a matte, and usually I've tried Carbon before, but this matte is just very stiff, very dry. The pigmentation, whether I used a brush, no matter what I used, no matter how I tried to get this Carbon to work, it was very stiff and hard to blend. It was a nightmare for me, honestly. But my favorite shades out of this whole palette would be Envisioning Pink, Violet Impact, and Showgirl. Yeah, Showgirl. This frosty blue I just felt was the perfect amount of 80s for this. And in even this silver right here, graphic style, I feel like these four would have made a fantastic quad. I would have loved to see that as a quad, because these other two shades just do a total injustice to this palette. So let me clean off my hand. So Lithe Spirit on my finger is showing up, but I'm telling you, when you swatch it, I have tons of swatches on my hand, it's like a translucent powder. Really, there's nothing to it. It's pathetic. It's really bad. And then we have Envisioning Pink, and that's a nice bright pink. It kind of leans a little purple, so it's going to match perfectly with this Violet Impact. And Envisioning Pink is a satin, Violet Impact is a Volux Pearl, and they go really well together. They're going to blend perfectly together, whether you use them alone or together. Showgirl, like I said, was the frosty, like, metallic blue. Then we have Graphic Style, which was the grade frost. And then we have Carbon, which just, even on my finger, you can see it's not a, even you can see, like, it'll deposit color, and then once I try to blend it out, it just sticks. I don't like that. Whereas the other two, the other two work quite well. I had no problem with them. So that was kind of disappointing to me. I feel like for the price point, you would want to include all the shades to have them be very usable. For ideas to, I mean, I could understand that maybe that's supposed to be a highlight color, but it's really just a translucent powder. When I think highlight, I want something that has just even a little something to it, whether it's whether it's like opalescent or pearl, something that gives it something, not just translucency. I mean, I understand you can use it to lighten the other shades, but I just feel like it has no place in that palette. So overall, the MAC Antonia eye palettes were really fun when I was testing them out and swatching them. I got really inspired and I started thinking of all different looks, from the bright and bold jewel toned 80s, the soft feminine 80s, the late 70s, just the disco era. I mean, there was just a lot of, you know, the pop stars. Like, I was starting to really, I just wanted to be this girl at the end of swatching all of these. Like, I was having a ball. So overall, I would say at least pick up one, and if I were to pick anyone, I would say get the Teal. Because you have, like I said, you have your colors for your smoky eye, and the metallics go well with the two brighter colors. Like I said, there's only two bright colors in that palette. So, I mean, while you may have colors that are similar, especially if you have, like, the Urban Decay Vice palette, you may have things that are similar. The packaging, I just don't feel like you should miss out on this packaging. It is absolutely gorgeous. So gorgeous. Look at that. You can see it's not just on there. It's actually like a layer of plastic on here. It's actually really pretty. So you can check those out. They are in store right now. They're at MAC counters too, I think. I know they're in store, and you can check them out online. They are on the MAC website, and I think they're also, I know I got an email from Century 21. So if you're in New York City, you can get them at the Century 21 in Manhattan. I think they're at Nordstrom. Yes, they're at Nordstrom. So you can pick them up in a lot of different places, but go play with them, try them on, swatch them, because I think you'll fall in love with at least one. So check me out on Instagram. I'm Recycled Stardust, and please enjoy the swatches. Thank you so much for watching.